I want to show you a couple of new features that we've recently introduced in Silent Push and how you can leverage them in your Time stories. The first is a new API endpoint we've introduced called the threat check endpoint. And the really nice thing about this with your stories is this is going to basically return a true or false whether or not a domain or an IP address is malicious. In this case, I have it right at the start of my playbook where I'm generally maybe looking something up in a couple of different services. Now I can really use this to kind of quickly decide yes or no, is this malicious? And based on the results of that, I can choose how I want to proceed down the rest of my Time stories. In this case, if it is malicious, what I want to do is I want to go out and get some additional details about the domain that I'm looking at. And then ultimately, I can decide whether or not I want to take action and add this into my block list. I'm using a Zscaler in this case. Now, if it doesn't return as malicious from our threat check API, we have another branch here where I can go and maybe check a couple of other different sources to see what's returned. And the really interesting thing we can do now is if nothing comes back from that, the new feature that we've also introduced is an API endpoint that we can use to update a feed inside Silent Push. So what this is going to allow me to do now is run my automation, but when we start to run into some of these kind of gray areas, I can put that into Silent Push and I can start to use that as a way to drive some more of my hunting and investigating to find malicious infrastructure. So what I want to do now is I want to run my story here. I have just a quick page that I've set up. And the first thing that I want to do is I want to drop in one of my domains. So this could be something that comes from maybe a phishing email I'm investigating or just part of an alert that we're forwarding over. And I'll go ahead and close my tab. While this is running, we can start to see that in this case, we ran it through our threat check API and it came back as something that's malicious. So we go and try to get some other details. Nothing really comes back. Ultimately, we're going to actually go in and update a feed that I've set up in Silent Push, in this case, one for my SOAR feed, where now anytime I have this in my playbook, I can come in, I can start to work through this and decide, is there further action that requires? Do we want to convict this domain? Is it related to a larger campaign we're seeing? All things we can use to kind of start to respond to this and take additional action as required. Now, if I rerun this again, if I come in and I open up my page here, I submit another domain to this. And in this case, I'm going to use a slightly different domain. We'll go ahead and submit that. And in this case now, our threat check API is going to actually go out and convict this domain as malicious. I can see in my results here when I dig in, I can see that it's listed on one of our IOFA feeds. And then I'm going to go in, I'm going to get some additional details about this domain so I can decide any additional actions that I want to take, whether it's blocking this domain or maybe taking this entire feed and using that as a way to kind of keep my block list up to date for some things that we're seeing. So these are a couple of quick new actions that we can add into our Time stories and really use it as a way where we can kind of quickly do our investigations, kind of decide what's malicious, but then make sure we still have some of those capabilities to do some additional hunting and really make sure that we're evaluating these alerts that we might be investigating.